Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Similarly Different. Happy New Year! You've already had a few days to get into your new year, and I don't know about you, but I like to slow transition into my new year. Now, last year was very chaotic for me, and I'm sure a lot of people, and I felt like I could never catch up. So listen, if you're listening to this episode and you're like, girl, it just went into the next year. I don't even know. I did nothing to prep for it. I feel behind. I feel like I already ruined the new year. This episode is for you because you have not. But what we are going to talk about is everything that I'm looking forward to implement, things that I already naturally implement into the new year, traditions that I have, and healthy habits that have helped me be able to every year when I go into a new year, elevate into the next version of myself. So I don't know if you're on your 2.0 version, if you are on your 15.8 version of yourself, if you are on your 56.7 version of yourself, or maybe your 21 version of yourself, but this for sure is going to help you figure out where you want to elevate when you're elevating into the next version of yourself. Because not only is it a new year, but that's what this whole season has been about so far. So let's go right into it now. If you know me personally, I love a good vision board. I have been doing vision boards for about 5 or 6 years, and I really believe that intentional living, intentional speaking, intentional thinking, and intentional doing really does bring results into your life. Because if you don't believe it, how do you expect it to come into your life, and how else do you expect other people to see you in that light? So I have been doing vision boards for the past 5 years, like I said. Typically, I do it in the month of December, but don't fret. You know, people do dry January. If you're in the Asian community, Chinese New Year is the end of January, so you still got time. And at the end of the day, what is time, right? Time is money, but also time is of the essence, and you can get started today. And your new year can start today, next week, February 1st. So this is just a little gentle reminder of where to start. And the first thing I like to do is vision boards. I'm filming this episode before 2025, but I myself, I'm kind of battling of when am I going to have time to be able to do my vision board. So I might be doing it the same week that you guys are doing it if you choose to do this. My vision board, I split it into 4 different categories. Those 4 different categories started from actually Marina Hewitt when she had her blog. I don't know if she still has it, but Life with Me. I know she has a podcast, but when she started her blog, she talked about it, and I kind of just tweaked it in my own liking. But what I do is I write in a piece of paper and I put a cross, basically a cross like this in equal spaces. And I put 4 categories that I really find important. You can change this to your liking. However, I put self, I put career, I put personal life, and I put long-term goals. That's how I start. Then after that, I do bullet points. And you can do this on your notes app. You can do it on a piece of paper. You can do it on your laptop. But then I go in and I start being really intentional. Back in the day, I used to do my vision boards where I would just get pretty pictures, pretty words, and it was just scattered brain. And for me, while that's cute and aesthetic and all that stuff, it's not intentional. It's not direct. It's not, I want this word for this part of my life. I want this for this. It's very a little all over the place. And I just believe if you want God, the universe, whatever you believe in to bring you something, you got to tell it and be as specific as possible. So before I got my Audi that I currently have right now, I used to have an Audi when I was married. And my goal was always to get an Audi again on my own once I established myself and, became more financially stable. I was able to get my Audi in December of 2023, and it was a 2024 Audi. So every year what I would do is I always had a car. I always had a Mercedes, or for a while I had a Jaguar. I think it's called an F something, an F1, or no, not F1, that's Formula One. But I used to have a Jaguar F something. And I was like, I like the car, but I was like, in reality, what I want is an Audi. And in the last 2 years, I actually changed that car to be an Audi. And I specifically started looking at what model of Audi would I even be interested in. And I started adding it in the area of personal, as well as what destinations. I don't want to just travel. I want to hit certain destinations. In the form of self, what categories do I want to better in my health? Is it physical? If it's physical, what specific in physical? Am I trying to lose weight? Am I trying to tone? Am I trying to be happy with my own body that I live in, because that's very important. And that's in the health category. So like I said, I split it into 4 categories. And I think for me, it's really important to be super detailed. So instead of just finding words, I go into Canva, and I've done this version 2 years. And this part of the vision board, I got it from Andrea Casanova. She's a creator. She's gone viral several times in her life for vision boards. She actually also sells, I think it's for like $5.99, nothing crazy, a template to be able to go on Canva and just insert things, which makes it so easy. The really good thing about her template that she sells is that all you have to do is fill it in, then you take it to like a Staples, you print it, and you're able to frame it. So that's what I've been doing. Normally I would do it in like the whiteboard, do the glue. Now it's cleaner, it's digitized, and you're able to print it. You don't have to deal with all that stuff, which it is fun to cut out things, but you limit in how creative and how intentional you want to be when you're cutting out. Also, magazines are really expensive. That was another reason why I changed from magazine cutting to digital. But on Canva, now I have the template that I just repeat. And then I have it split, like I said, into 4 sections, and I start inserting every square what I want. If it's that I want to look away, do I Photoshop a picture and add my face? Yes, I for sure do. If it's that I want to be on the front cover or work with a brand, do I cut my face and insert my entire face or body into that setting? Yes, I do. If I want to travel somewhere, do I have a picture of me laying out in the water because I Photoshop myself in there? Yes, I do. When I have a picture of a family, because that's my long-term goal, to have a partner and a family with a certain amount of kids, am I inserting my head into that face? Yes, I am. You have to be so intentional, because the reality is that the universe can't bring you what they don't know you want. So I am going down to the way I want to look, the way I want to feel. What am I wearing there? I have a picture that I did once in front of Sephora, because I always wanted to be on the storefront of, when I was doing a lot of commercial modeling of a store. And I didn't get Sephora, but I did get Ulta, and it was a dry bar campaign. And in the front glass of this vision board that I have of the picture of Sephora, my face, I imposed it into the glass. Why? Because that was my goal. And then when I got it in Ulta, I went ahead and posted that picture, and I actually posted a clip that not only was it on my vision board, but also in the center of the square that I do, because I am in the creator field and I work with so many brands. I have all the logos of the brands I want to work with in the coming year. And Ulta was in there. So you just never know how things are going to work. I actually was looking, in 2023, I had put that I wanted to attend award shows. And Premios Lo Nuestro is in February, and I had it in my vision board. And by February, I was able to cross off that one because I got invited to it. So you have to be super intentional. It's not like, I want to go to award shows. Which award shows do you want to be invited to? Is it the Grammys? Is it this? Is it that? Like, what conventions do you want to be invited to? Do you want to be invited to, or do you just want to attend? If you want to just attend, then you need to ask for the finances to be able to have those opportunities to attend that. So a vision board is very, very important. Like I said, long-term goals, professional, self, and health. And then in the center, I do all the brands I want to work with. And I'm very intentional with what brands I want to work with, what brands I want to see me for who I am, see my value, see my, creativity, and want to work with me. I want them to want me in those rooms. Little by little, I have been checking off so many things in my list. One thing that I haven't checked off yet is moving into a townhome, but every year I add it. And that's another thing. Like, don't get discouraged when something that year doesn't manifest. You're planting the seed and you're just adding the soil, adding the water to it. So believe in it and just continue to do it with so much intentionality, and be okay with, if let's say last year it was a single family home and now this year you kind of are more interested in a townhouse, change the picture, flip it up. And I love that on Canva, it's just a quick switcheroo. You can duplicate the file, and then now you have 2025 and you just switch out the pictures. So that's something that I really believe in when it comes to the new year vision boarding. And you guys can always write to me, ask me questions, anything else detailed when it comes to making a vision board. Again, Andrea Casanova has a template that is really great when it comes to vision boarding. You can just print it, frame it by, I think it's like a nice frame, and I have it right next to my makeup vanity hung up. So I'm able to see it every day. I'm able to remind myself what I'm focused on and what my goals are. So now that we've gone into the vision board of life, I want to talk about this year and some things that I'm really trying to work on and I'm focused on. And, I have achieved many goals in my life, and I still have so much more to achieve, to learn, to face, that one of the biggest things that I want to work on this year is gentle productivity. And it's setting small micro goals daily instead of big unobtainable goals. Now, I'm not saying big goals are unobtainable, but what I think happens a lot of the times for people that are very driven like myself or that are dreamers is that sometimes if we look at the end goal rather than the stepping stones to it, we can get overwhelmed and it can look like it's so far away. So I want to be gentler with myself by creating smaller goals to the big goal. Still have the big goal as a reaching point, but have smaller goals. Instead of the hustle culture where we're just like working nonstop, I want to just be able to create balance in my life, because I do believe that with balance, you can still achieve and move on to the next level and not live so much in this survival mode, hyper independence that I feel as independent women, as being an immigrant, as the eldest daughter, sometimes we lean on. And I talked about this with my friend Jamie a lot about how herself and myself have now tried to evolve in the last year to not be so much on survival mode. And I think survival mode, hustle mode, all those type of hyper, last minute productivity just isn't healthy in the long run. And I do want to change and rewire that narrative that I have in myself. So gentle productivity will be really good this year. So if you relate to it, I think it's something we should both work on. Another thing is that I have on here is digital minimalism. Now, when it comes to digital minimalism, I really want to focus on intentional social media usage, like screen-free Sundays or 1 hour digital detox from your phone. And I say this because we get already, as it is, reminders of how long we've been on screen time if you have Apple, which I'm sure a lot of people do. I don't know if Samsung does it as well, but we've seen it where Instagram even tells us how long we've been on our phone if we want to check in the settings. And I just want to focus on being more present and not scrolling, not wasting time that I may have to be able to just sit, to meditate, just look at the friggin' ceiling and not have to scroll, to let my mind wander, to start limiting beliefs, to start comparison, to start nosiness of things that I may be like, what is this person up to? That really doesn't serve me in my life. So I really want to work on it. And I think for me, I may not do digital free Sundays. I may do that once a month, but I know that I am going to tell myself 1 hour free. And I'm actually thinking about making that 1 hour free from social be the first hour of my morning. I was listening to another podcast actually, and they were saying how a lot of the times when you look at your phone, the moment you wake up, you turn off these relaxing chemicals that are in your body from sleeping, and instantly your stressors turn on. And it can be healthy in the long run. And I don't know if it's really going to do detrimental damage to me. But what I do know is that I want to see how different my brain works if I do it for a month. So I'm really going to try to have my alarm, but that I turn it off. It's not I grab it, turn it off, start checking emails. I want to give myself some sort of structure to see if I feel different and if my brain produces ideas, concepts, thoughts, emotions differently if I do that. So that's another thing that I really wanted to share with you guys that I'm going to be working on. Another thing is micro win and mini habits. And I feel like I have been working on this for 10 years, but it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And it's writing down in a small little piece of paper. I thought about this past weekend. So I have a tiny mini mason jar. I'm sure they sell them in Michael's. My friend actually gave me one filled with little tiny colorful notes that have Bible verses in them for whenever you're feeling down. But when I was writing these things to share with you guys, I thought, wait a second, what if the same concept, but with micro wins and mini habits? It's probably going to be $5.99. You get Post-its, the big stack that's colorful. You get a little mason jar for $5.99. or probably even less because it's literally the tiniest ones at my goals. And then this is what I wrote down. I said writing down in a small little piece of paper and placing in a jar whenever micro wins and micro improvements happen. Now, if my mom is listening to this counts if you work out that day. Because guess what? That is a micro win that you're adding oil to your joints. That is a micro win. You did it. Now, if you already are doing a walk every day for the past 2 years around the lake, that's not really a micro win, I would say. You got to get a little uncomfortable. But mini habits, micro wins, you have to focus on that. Now, if you get a call, you may not have gotten the role yet, but you moved on to the next step, or you moved on to the next interview for that job position that you're wanting. Write that down, because that made you, for that second, to know that you took a step further, that made you happy. And that's something that you should be proud of, And I think so many times Spotify has Spotify Rap, Apple has Apple Rap. We forget so many small little moments that we once never had. And it's time to really take that in and appreciate and value it and be proud of it. So if a micro win is that you made somebody smile today, write it down. The guy in the elevator, the old man in the elevator, I said something about his shirt, and when he walked away, he smiled. That's a little micro win. You were going out of your way to acknowledge somebody else and something nice that you saw in somebody. So I really think doing that is really important. At the end of the month, go ahead and read them. While they're micro, they're a step to acknowledge and be proud of the steps made and to reflect on them. We always push on to the next thing and the next project, the next moment, the next goal. And we forget about our progress. So I think that's really important. And I know I'm going to be doing that because I can tell you probably 10 things I've done wrong in the last week. But when you ask me what I've done right, I'm really got to sit down and think. And that is so toxic and that is not good. And I want to get better at that. I can't be everybody's cheerleader if I can't be my own first. So, Sematic Wellness. So trends in the nervous system regulation, like breathwork, grounding techniques, and body scans, are really growing online and in our community, I feel. And maybe it's my age group that we're like, something's not right in the way we are handling work and life and everything. But in the morning and at night, having a time with self. So I personally have talked about this. If you guys follow me on social media, I talk about this a lot. The free app, it's called Insight Timer. Yeah, it's Insight Timer. It's like a brown logo with a white background. So good. It has over 20,000 meditations, breathwork apps. It has everything. And you know what I love about it? It's free $99. Because while I love the Calm app, you barely can do anything until you start paying for it, or a subscription, or like you pay for the app. So I'm sure it's great, but why not try this one and see if you can get into the habit or a structure, or the curiosity of, is meditation for me? Is breath work for me? Either or. And then if you get tired of that app for whatever reason, even though it has 20,000 more audios, you can go into the Calm or Headspace and apps like that. Another thing is time blocking for self-care. Now, this is kind of like the removing the hour of social media and all that stuff, but encourage everyone to schedule self-care like any other task on their calendar. Now, I'm the queen of this. If you know me in real life, I love saying this to people, and this is on anything, but I think implementing this change is great in the new year. We can make 101 excuses for things for ourselves a lot of the times, but the moment you have a meeting, you will move a freaking mountain to make sure you don't miss that meeting. So you have to start acting like whatever it is for your self-care is a meeting and is as important as $1 million deal, as the next job interview, as the next meeting with the CEO of whatever, or as the next meeting with the producer of the show. Because at the end of the day, you have to start at some point to prioritize yourself. I always say this, you cannot have a phone working efficiently at 3%, and you cannot work efficiently if you are at 3%. Now, we get used to that habit and we get used to working that way, but it feels so much better when you're actually rested, can think clearly, and aren't dealing with so much brain fog to be able to show up and show out. And I bet you're going to show out better once you're actually working correctly. So I think implementing these tasks of self-care into your calendar and making it like, I got an appointment, I got a meeting. You start implementing and you start making time for it and fitting in it some way, somehow. When you start a new job, it becomes so overwhelming. You're like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to wake up every day at 6 a.m. to be able to get to the job at 7:30. It seems like the craziest thing of life. When the first day of school, you find out all your classes and everything, and you're like, how am I going to be able to do all this work? And then within like week 3, month 2 of your new job, you somehow just get into the rhythm of it. So if you start implementing the things that you really need for your self-care into your calendar, you're gonna start implementing it as you get, used to it. So I think that's really important. In here, what I wrote is, if you can make an appointment for your future job or opportunity, mark it in your calendar as it's an opportunity for your inner and outer self to feel better and to be fed in a healthy way in a new habit. So that's another thing. Another thing that I really want to talk about is consciousness consumerism. Sounds very, very intelligent, if I do say so myself. While I love to shop, and you guys may know that from seeing the amount of clothes I have, and as I've gotten older, I've changed what I want to invest in time in. And I really want to work on 2025 in intentional purchases that I either already started doing in 2024 or that I really have wanted to. And some of them include taking classes like golfing. I have been talking about this to even Courtney, where I realized the other day that she told me she had somebody to recommend me for golfing classes, and then it never happened. So bringing that back up. And then also I really want to learn golfing. I just feel like it would be like a good network to be in and just like a hobby to have that's really cool and different. Another thing is therapy. At any age, therapy is necessary and really good for you. So if you can go and get that coffee every day, girl, you can put that away and get some therapy. Travel to a bucket list place. I specifically spoke to someone earlier a few weeks ago when this comes out, and I'm not going to say their name, mom, but she mentioned that she doesn't really want to tap into the love life section of her life anymore. And I said, okay, cool. Don't. But you're still so young and there's still so much to experience. And in that, she was like, well, I really want to do traveling. And I said, if you want to do travel, girl, then you got to make it on your goals list, because we have so much availability to be able to spend money on things that we just want in the moment, whether it's a little hot coffee or it's a little snack or it's a little this or a little that. But if you just put that money aside and started putting it towards a goal that you have of something you really want to experience, you can get there. I'm not saying that by December you're going to have $15,000 saved and you can go on a 15-day trip across the world and it's going to be great. No, but if you have a travel place you want to go to, whether it's in the US or outside of the US, if you actually make intentional habits based on your lifestyle and based on your budget to really do it, why not? Life is short. And really put time and effort into something. We figure out money how to come across when we got a car note, when we have a tire that we got to replace, when we have all this stuff. So if we start implementing that we need to figure out money how every month to put towards something, you're going to get to it. And I think it's just the intentionality of really, really wanting something and putting action behind it. Okay, so now that I have told you guys this, I hope you took something from it, wrote some notes from it. But I did want to tell you guys that, whether it's the vision board that you guys are going to do, whether it's implementing some of these habits and really do this, there is a little challenge I want to do with you guys. And it's a 21-day reset/challenge. Being that today, January 6th, the episode has come out, there's 21 days left for January. You could also do this at any time if you want to choose 21 days as well. You don't have to start today, whatever, but it's going to be a daily gratitude and journal prompts that I'm going to be posting on the broadcasting channel. If you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on the broadcasting channel. You can see it starting January 6th. Every single day, I'm going to have a different prompt. The second thing is you're going to take a fresh air walk. That can be a 10-minute walk, a 30-minute walk, up to you. I'm going to do at minimum 10 minutes where I'm really just going to get out of the area I'm in that day and take a walk. You can do it and listen to the podcast, or you can take it as a moment of silence, whatever it is that you need that day. But the point is not for you to be walking and scrolling, more for you to be walking, seeing, and resetting yourself, taking a moment to take fresh air, taking a moment to reset, and taking a moment for yourself to just regenerate for a second. And then the last thing is a daily kindness text. I want you guys for the next 21 days to choose one person a day to send a text to and let them know whatever comes to your heart. It can say, I really hope you're having a great day today, or I had this memory of us today and I just thought to share it to you. Or it could be, hey, I just want to let you know that I really have admired or appreciated or loved or respected that you do X, Y, and Z, whether it be based on your guys' relationship, something that this individual does in their own life, or something that you admire about them that you hope to one day instill in yours, or that you just admire and you think it's beautiful. I think a lot of the times people don't get complimented enough because they think that, like, the outsider thinks like, oh, they're probably told that already. And I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me a compliment that I've literally taken to heart. Recently, I was in a meeting with a friend of mine, and he said, one of the things that I really, mind you, he said this in the middle of the conversation, we were not even talking about this. He said, one of the things I really admire about you, and I just wanted to tell you, is how flawlessly you transition. And I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, since I've met you, he met me when I was in the music industry. He goes, you have transitioned into different versions of yourself, different sectors of industry, different categories of projects. And you've done it so effortlessly. And I don't know if it's been effortlessly on your side of things, but as a viewer, it's been done so effortlessly, and it's something I want to commend you in, because not many people are able to transition, different versions so seamlessly. And I was like, wow, while a lot of people don't see all the negative that goes on behind the scenes while those transitions have been happening, it was really nice to see that somebody saw that not only have I been trying, but that I have been changing and evolving, not only in career, but in self. And it was just really nice. And I don't think he knew that I needed it as much as I needed it that day. So a little daily kindness text. So you have a daily prompt that's going to be on the broadcast channel every single day. You can go back if you start this after January 6th and look for them. You can also have 10 to 30-minute walk for fresh air. And then last but not least, a daily kindness text. And I think that'll just set you up for the day. I want to remind you guys that in this new year, whatever you do better for you that you did not do last year is so much of a step in a direction that you weren't at before. I've said this in other episodes, but I can guarantee you that no matter what you do, when you walk towards being a better version of yourself in any category, you don't have to hit them all at once, any category of self, you will come out better, you will feel better, and you will be so proud of yourself that you did it at that moment. So instead of waiting for the time to be right, instead of waiting for a sign, this is your sign. Instead of waiting for the season, for a person to be in your life, for the money to come in, for the job to come in, do something for yourself, because you are, respectfully, tired of sitting in your old shit. And you're ready for some freshness, for some evolution, for some next level iOS situation to happen inside of you, outside of you, and around you. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope you guys join the 21-day challenge. Stay tuned for all the prompts. Send me stuff if it's happening your way to let me know it's been working for you, or that you've been getting good feelings, good feedback, good results. And listen, I truly believe that 2025 is going to be such an amazing year for people. And I'm not trying to sound like the super positive person, but what I'm saying is that, you really can make your year what it is. That does not mean you're not going to have moments in this year that are probably going to suck, but in uncomfortability, growth happens. And through every situation, you're going to grow from it. So I really hope that you guys embark on this year again, whether your new year is today, whether it was January 1st, or whether it's February 1st or even March 1st. Whenever your new year starts, that is your decision and your step that you're taking. But I hope that you guys really do it. I hope that you guys really embark this, not for me, not for your parents, not for your partner, and not for the people around you, but for yourself. And I'm so excited. I genuinely love to talk to you guys. I love that you guys have been really loving the podcast and really talking, whether it's on YouTube comments or DMs. And I'm just genuinely excited for you guys, even though I can't see you in my brain. I'm behind the camera, there's little sticks and it's all the people. But anyways, that is all for this episode. I cannot wait to talk to you guys in the next episode. And until next time, bye-bye.